Good morning all. I am Dr. Rajita. I am from Department of English, Vardhaman College of Engineering. Today we are going to discuss direct and indirect speech. This is important because to improve your communication skills or writing skills, or if you want to write a summary of any lesson or anything, this is very much important to learn direct and indirect speech. Many students are very good at it, but sometimes they go wrong because of the lack of knowledge they have on tenses. So let's start with the rules and all, and what is direct speech and what is indirect speech, what is the difference between direct and indirect speech, and how to convert sentences from direct to indirect speech. This is what we are going to discuss today, direct and indirect speech. So what is the definition for direct speech? Direct speech is nothing but the actual words of the speaker. The actual words of the speaker will be repeated in the direct speech, whereas in the indirect speech only the substance of the speaker's words is given. I think you understood. Actual words are repeated in the direct speech, whereas in the indirect speech only the substance of the speaker's words is given. So now let us see that what are the rules and how to change them from sentences from direct speech to indirect speech. So as I told you every time that tenses, we should have very good knowledge of tenses so that we can change direct speech to indirect speech or active voice to passive voice, anything very easily. So now let's see that how the tenses change when you change a sentence from direct speech to indirect speech. So let's see, this is direct speech, this is indirect speech. Suppose we use simple present tense, that changes into simple past. Then present continuous changes into past continuous, present perfect changes into past perfect, and present perfect continuous changes into past perfect continuous tense. When it comes to past tense, simple past changes into past perfect and past perfect remains past perfect, past perfect continuous remains past perfect continuous, past continuous changes into past perfect continuous tense. When it comes to future tense, only the modal auxiliaries change, rest of the things remain same. Then present continuous, the next tense is present continuous changes into past continuous, present perfect changes into past perfect, and the last tense in the present tense, that is present perfect continuous, changes into past perfect continuous tense, past perfect continuous tense. So we have covered all the 4 tenses of present tense. Now let's see how past tense changes. So past tense, that is simple past, changes into past perfect, then past continuous changes into past perfect continuous. The remaining 2 tenses, that is past perfect tense and past perfect continuous, they do not change. The remaining tenses, that is past perfect and also the past perfect continuous tense, do not change. They remain same, they do not change. So we have finished all the 8 tenses: simple present, present continuous, present perfect continuous, simple past, past continuous, past perfect and past perfect continuous tense. So it means here simple present tense, subject plus V1 becomes subject plus V2, she comes becomes she came, they go becomes they went, whereas here present continuous, I am writing becomes I was writing, and present perfect, I have written becomes I had written, past perfect, whereas here present perfect continuous, I have been writing a lesson or studying a lesson for 1 hour becomes I had been reading or writing a lesson for 1 hour. Then simple past changes into past perfect, I wrote becomes I had written, past continuous, I was writing becomes I had been writing. Then past perfect and past perfect continuous remain same. Suppose you say I had written, it remains same, the tense remains same in the indirect speech also, I had written. I had been writing, I had been writing, it never changes, right. Future tense, in future tense will becomes would, shall becomes should, may becomes might, then must either had to or would have to. So this is for direct speech, this is for indirect speech. Then shall becomes should, can becomes could, may becomes might, then must changes into had to or would have to. Then let's go for the words. The words change like this: now becomes, then, today, that day, yesterday, the previous day, last week, month or year changes into the previous week, month or year, right? There are some exceptions that we'll discuss later on. And the next one is next week, next month and next year changes into the coming week, month or year. Now let us see that how to change different types of sentences from direct speech to indirect speech. According to the function, there are 4 types of sentences. There are 4 types of sentences according to a function. So first one is assertive sentence, you might have heard about it. Then interrogative sentences, imperative sentences and exclamatory sentences. These are the 4 types of sentences according to the function: interrogative, imperative and the exclamatory sentence. And you must be thinking that why should we learn these types of sentences? Because to change different types of sentences, we need to follow different conditions, different rules. So every sentence, suppose you want to change assertive sentence from direct speech to indirect speech, you have to follow different rules. In the same manner, if you want to convert these 3 types of sentences, we need to follow different rules, right? And what is assertive sentence? Assertive sentence is nothing but making statements. It can be a positive statement or a negative statement. All the statements come under assertive sentences. So making statements, like you can say that I am writing. It's a statement, a positive statement. That is an example for assertive sentence. I am not writing anything, negative sentence. So both the sentences are an example for assertive sentence. Then interrogative sentence, asking questions. All the questions fall into the category of interrogative sentences, asking questions. The questions can be yes or no questions or WH questions. We have 2 types of questions. The first one is yes or no question, second one is WH questions. What are these yes or no questions? Suppose you ask a question, if the answer is either yes or no, like we use some helping verbs like do you take tea? Yes, I take tea. No, I do not take tea. Are you coming? Yes, I am coming. No, I am not coming. So you are getting the answer as what? Either positive answer or negative answer. So this type of questions, usually we start with helping verbs. So all the yes or no questions come under interrogative sentences and also WH questions. What are these WH questions? Basically we have 9, like what, when, which, where, why, who, whom, whose, these all are WH questions. All the questions fall into the category of interrogative sentences. Then imperative sentences. It is a request or it can be a request, order, instruction, advice and so on. If I say kindly write this for me, please help me, the tone of the sentence is request. By seeing these words, you can make out that it is a request. Politeness. Then order, get out of the room, it's an order. Attack the enemy, it's a command. Leave your footwear outside, it's an instruction. Take care of your health, it's an advice. So these all are examples for imperative sentences. Then exclamatory sentence. What is an exclamatory sentence? They express a sudden feeling. They express a sudden feeling or a strong emotion. Sudden feeling, a strong emotion. Generally we start with, usually we use exclamation marks in this type of sentences, either in the beginning or at the end of the sentence, because they express some emotion. Don't take emotion as sorrow. Emotion can be a surprise or happiness, a joy or unhappiness, anything. Right? Let us see how to change these 4 types of sentences from direct speech to indirect speech. We have already learned the rules, how to change. Tense wise or we can say words wise also, how they will be changing from direct speech to indirect speech. Now let us start with assertive sentences. How to change assertive sentences from direct speech to indirect speech. Assertive sentences, changing assertive sentences from direct speech to indirect speech. Now let us see what are the parts you find in a direct speech. In direct speech you find 3 parts. The first one is reporter, the second one is reporting verb, then reported speech. The person who speaks is called reporter. The verb which initiates the speech is called reporting verb, and the words which are kept within inverted comma, that is called reported speech. These are the 3 parts you come across in direct speech. When you convert this into indirect speech, you don't find these 3 parts, right? So how to change assertive sentences from direct speech to indirect speech? Let's see the first sentence. He said, there is a comma. So in this sentence, this is the reporter, the person, the speaker we can say, and the verb which initiates the speech, this is reporting verb, and there is a comma. There is a separating comma here. You have to start with inverted commas. You have to put the dialogue within inverted commas. The speech, I am leaving for my hometown. I am leaving for my hometown. It's a plain sentence. It's an assertive sentence, a statement, a positive statement we can say. So this part is called reported speech. This is called reported speech. Let's convert this into indirect speech. He remains he. There is no change. Said also, because it is already in past tense, no problem. If it is said to, then that is changed into told or replied or stated accordingly. So said remains said, and you have to remove this separating comma and inverted commas. In that place we have to use some conjunction. The conjunction used in assertive sentence is that. Okay, we are removing this. In that place we are using the conjunction that. Then I, this is first person, whereas here it is third person. So first person, third person don't go along very well with each other. So what we have to do is that we have to change this I to third person. Okay, so this is he, and this is first person, this is third person. So you have to convert this first person to third person. So I becomes he, and am leaving, which is present continuous. We are using present continuous here, that is converted into past continuous. So am leaving becomes was leaving, for remains for. Once again here it is first person, that has to be converted into third person. So for his, my becomes his hometown. See, we have removed all the inverted commas and we are only giving the gist of it. We are only giving the substance of this dialogue. These are the actual words of the speaker and this is only the substance, right? While writing any summary of the lesson and all, this is quite useful for us. Then let's go for one more sentence, like we can say, she said, I have written an essay. Now let's convert this into indirect speech. She remains she, said that. We are using the conjunction that. Then I becomes what? She said that she has, it is have written is present perfect, that is converted into past perfect. So have written becomes had written. She had written an essay. So always present becomes past. That is simple present, simple past, present continuous, past continuous, present perfect, past perfect, present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous tense. So this is the way we change assertive sentences from direct speech to indirect speech. Only thing is that we use the conjunction that here. Now let's see how to change interrogative sentences. Interrogative sentences from direct speech to indirect speech. Interrogative sentences. So there are yes or no questions and also WH questions. Let's start with yes or no questions. How to change yes or no questions from direct speech to indirect speech. Ram said to Sam, did you attend the class yesterday? Did you attend the class yesterday? It's a question. We have started with a helping verb did. Now let's convert this into indirect speech. Ram remains Ram, no change. Said to is changed into asked, either asked or questioned. So asked Sam. Here we are not using that, since it is not a statement, it is a question. Especially the yes or no questions, we have to use either if or whether. If or whether. Since the spelling of if is easy, generally we have to go for if in the examination. If, then you have to go for if he. Why are we not using the second person you here? Because Sam is third person. It is third person, so it is changed into what? If he. In the place of you, we are using he. And did plus attend, it is past tense. It is past tense. Either you can retain it as past tense or you can convert that into past perfect. Okay. If he had attended, because past tense becomes past perfect. If he had attended the class, yesterday becomes previous day. In the indirect speech, yesterday becomes the previous day. So while changing interrogative sentences from direct speech to indirect speech, what changes we have come across? Said to becomes questioned or asked. Instead of told or said and all, it is converted into asked. Then in the place of inverted commas and separating comma, we are using if or whether. We are not using that. Then we are using the subject first. Since it is second person, we have to convert that into third person, because the speaker or the person here is third person. So we have used he here, and the tense used here is past tense, that is converted into past perfect, and the word here yesterday is converted into previous day. So yesterday is changed into previous day in the indirect speech. This is the way we change interrogative sentences from direct speech to indirect speech. The major one is the conjunction is if or whether here, whereas in the statements we are using that. The next one is imperative sentences. So all the requests, orders, imperative sentences. The crow said to the fox, please don't disturb me, don't disturb me. So this is an example for imperative sentence. This is a request. It is easy, tone of the sentence. By seeing the tone of the sentence, you can make out that it is a request. Now, while converting that into indirect speech, the crow said to is converted into requested. Requested the fox. Then we are deleting this inverted commas and separating comma, even this please also, because already we have used the word requested here. That should not be repeated. The words like please or kindly should not be repeated in the indirect speech. The fox, suppose it is a positive sentence, we have to use to. While converting imperative sentence from direct speech to indirect speech, if it is a positive sentence, you have to use to in the place of inverted commas and separating comma. If it is a negative sentence, then you have to use not to. Since this is a negative sentence, this is converted into not to. Not to disturb. Tense is not changed here, please. In the imperative sentences, tense is not changed. Not to disturb me. Who is this me? The crow. Either you can say it or him. So not to disturb it, or we can say him. Generally that is what we use. Then father said to son, get out. Here it is an order, and it is a positive sentence. So father said to becomes ordered his son. Positive sentence, as I told you here, to get out. No change of tense, to get out. The major said attack the enemy post. The major commanded to attack the enemy post. This is the way we change imperative sentences from direct speech to indirect speech. Only thing is that here we are using positive sentences, we use to in the place of separating comma, and in the negative sentences we use not to. The last part is exclamatory sentences. Exclamatory sentences. They said, hooray, we have won the match. We have won the match. It's an exclamatory sentence. So hooray is indicated when you are happy. When we use this word only when we are happy. So they exclaimed. In the exclamatory sentences, said is changed into exclaimed. They exclaimed with joy. If it is unhappiness, with sorrow. With joy, we delete this interjection here. Any interjection is used, that has to be deleted. With joy, and the conjunction that is used, like how we used in the assertive sentences, the same conjunction that is used. With joy, that, this we is used for they. So we becomes they, and we have used present perfect here, that is changed into past perfect, that they had won the match. And for any word also, interjection should be removed in the indirect speech. So in the assertive sentences and exclamatory sentences, we use the conjunction. In interrogative sentences, we use the conjunction if or whether. Imperative, we use to if it is positive sentence, or not to if it is negative sentence. Okay. So this part, exclaimed with joy. If it is surprise, exclaimed surprise. Or if you don't know exactly, then you can use even exclaimed. You can leave it like that. Exclaimed that they had won the match. So this is the way sentences change from direct speech to indirect speech. We have discussed all the rules and regulations. Hope you understood the topic very well, and I have clarified many of your doubts. And these are some of the rules we have discussed, and while changing or while correcting the sentence also, we can follow these rules and regulations, and we can change the sentences from direct speech to indirect speech. We can correct the sentences. Thank you.